What's going on, everybody? David here. We're talking travel today, and I'm gonna talk about renewing your passport. I know I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I glossed over it, and I want to make sure I'm gonna show you step by step how to do it. So I got a few questions after the live stream just about renewing your passport. And so I want to devote a little more time to it. So that's what we're going to do today. I also, right before I start talking about that, I do want to kind of clear up because, you know, sometimes when you're saying things and you're trying to explain things to people, you don't get I wasn't getting the impression that people were understanding what I was saying when it came to business cards and the 524 rule. So I'm going to show you, there's an article that was written about it. About the card that I was talking about yesterday, and just kind of explain a little bit more detail as far as how that works and as far as business cards are concerned, and why that could be a good strategy for you if you want to fall under that 524 rule. Why business cards make sense in that situation. Okay, so if you guys get in the chat, please just let me know you're here. Just say hi. And if you don't mind, let me know where you're coming from. I love it when people are coming from all over the U.S. and sometimes I get people coming from other countries, so that's always nice as well. So please just chime in, say hi. Also, let me know if you can hear me and everything is going okay. Yesterday I got on, and for whatever reason, I had audio in the beginning, and then it just cut out, and then I got audio again. So just let me know if you can hear everything and you can see me and all that. If there are any issues throughout the stream, if I freeze up and I don't come back, let me know, because sometimes I'm working things and for whatever reason it just freezes up. So I'm trying to work out all these details, but it does happen from time to time. So if you're here, looks like there's about 5 people in here right now. Just let me know that you're here so I can give you guys a shout out. So let's see, Hip is here. How you doing? James, how you doing? Seven, how you doing? All right, so what we'll do is I want to go over this article real quick. And like I said, I was talking about this yesterday. Let's see here. Oh, now you're seeing me. Let's pull up the screen here. Okay, so I was talking yesterday about the United Business, the Explorer card, the Business Explorer Mileage Plus, whatever they call a card. I don't know. Actually, it's right here. So the United Explorer Business Card. I was talking about this yesterday. I just got it. I got it about a week ago, and I decided to get that one over getting the personal version of that. The reason that I got the business card is because I do have a business. I have a part-time business that I operate, and so that allowed me to get the card, and you get a 75,000 point bonus if you hit that minimum spend with that card, as opposed to getting a 40,000 point bonus if you hit the personal card. So that was the main reason that I jumped on this card. And yesterday I was talking about the whole 524 rule and with Chase. And for those of you who don't know, I'll just kind of gloss over it really the fastest way that I can possibly do it. But basically, if you're opening, and it doesn't just include Chase accounts. So let's say you have 2 Chase cards and you have 3 American Express cards, and they're personal cards. You can only open 5 new accounts within a 24-month period. So if you have those 5 accounts, you're fine. If you let's say you get 3 Amex cards. Then you get the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and then for whatever reason you want to get the Chase Freedom or whatever. So you go get the Chase Freedom. So now you've hit the 5. And you can't go any further than that. So you can't get another card when it comes to Chase. Chase won't allow you to get another one of their cards. However, if you go, let's say if you go to Amex, they don't have like the 524 rule. They have their own rules. So that's what I was trying to explain yesterday. Now, what I didn't really, I kind of glossed over it and I didn't give enough detail, I think, is just the fact that, let's say you throw business cards in the mix. Well, business cards they're separate. They're a little different. So let's say I have 4 Chase cards. They're all personal cards. And then I want to get a business card. Well, I can jump on and get that business card if it's a Chase business card. I can get the Chase business card and I still fall under the 524 rule. But the good thing about it is when I get that Chase business card, it's still not going to count toward the 524. They will allow me to get it, and it's not going to count. Now, and when I say it's not going to count, I mean I can get a. Let's say I have 5 or 4 Chase cards. I get another Chase card, but it's a business card, and then I decide, okay, you know what? I want to get the Chase Freedom card. I can go out and get the Chase Freedom card. They'll still allow me to get it because it doesn't count towards my status. The business card doesn't. However, if I have 5 cards already, so let's say I have 5 new accounts that have opened already, and I want to get the Chase business card and make it it'll be the 6th card. So it's a Chase card, so it'll be the 6th account that I'm trying to open. They're not going to allow me to get that card. So let me just show you real quick. They their language is better than the way I'm trying to explain it, so maybe it'll make a little more sense. So just looking on here, and this is the Points Guy website. I always go here. I'm not being sponsored by them or anything like that, but they have a variety of, they have a lot of good information, and they're specifically talking about the Explorer card here. So I thought that was a good one to look at. So when you come down here, right here they're talking about the card and the 524 rule. So it says, let's see, okay, so they're talking about this up here. So it says also, as this is a Chase issued card, keep the issuer's 524 rule in mind. If you've opened 5 or more cards across all issuers in the last 24 months, Chase won't approve you for any additional cards. So if you've already applied for 5, they're not going to approve you for any additional cards, regardless if it's a business card or a personal card. But it says Chase business cards don't count towards your 524 status. But if you're over 524, you won't be approved for the United business card. Okay, so it doesn't count towards your status. So if I'm under 524, I can get that card. It's not going to count toward my 524 status. But if I've already reached that 524, I can't get that card. So I hope that makes sense. I was trying to explain it yesterday, and just the way that when I was trying to explain it, I don't think I was doing a good job of it, and I might not even be doing a good job now. But if you don't believe me, you can go to the Points Guy website, and let's just throw a link in here so you guys can check it out and read a little bit more about it if you have any other questions. But yeah, it is a little confusing, but just understand that business cards are usually treated differently than a personal card, because ideally, if you have a business, even if you're a sole proprietor, and in this situation, I'm a sole proprietor, so I do photography stuff, and that you can still get business cards as a sole proprietor. You just need to put your social security number instead of using the tax ID. But some other people, they might have LLC, they might have a big time corporation, and so you want to have that separate, right? You don't want to have your credit for your business is different than your credit for your personal credit. And so let's say you have a business that goes under, well, it's not going to affect your personal credit, or it shouldn't affect your personal credit. So that's how that works. Now, if you have a corporation. Now, if you have a sole proprietor, yes, it can affect, because everything is, although I still, as a sole proprietor, I keep my business expenses separate, it can still affect my my overall credit. Because if I have a credit card, a business credit card, and I don't pay it, well, that can affect my personal credit. And what it won't affect, though, is that, let's say I'm using that business card to make purchases, and it's increasing my credit, my overall credit to debt ratio, all that. Well, that's not going to show. It's not going to show because it's a business card. It's not going to show my personal credit to debt ratio. All right. So I hope that explains that. If you guys have further questions, you guys can go ahead and shoot them out in the chat. If you guys have any questions about other stuff too, shoot them out in the chat, and we'll talk about it as soon as we go over some more of the. I want to go over the passport stuff first, and then once we do the passport stuff, then we'll just open it up to questions. But if you have questions now, put them out there. That way I can start from the top and work my way down. All right. Or if you have comments as well, put them in there. And I know there are a few people on here that are going to put some comments, so that's good. All right, let's switch over to the passport. Okay, so The situation that I was in is it's been about 9 months. 9 months. It's been about 9 years and a couple months. Actually, more than a couple months. 9 years and about 6 months that I've had my old passport. And when you hit that 6 month mark where your card's going to expire, or your passport's going to expire in 6 months, you want to have your new passport prior to that, because if you're going to try to go on a trip or anything like that, where, well, you're going to run into some issues and you might not be able to travel because that 6 month expiration. So you want to make sure you get it prior to that. I waited till the last minute, and that was a mistake on my part. I'm planning on going to Colombia in next month, actually in 3 weeks. So I wasn't planning on doing that a month ago. So I was thinking, oh, I have time. My first trip is probably not going to be for a couple months, but I want to go to Carnival. And so that's why I switched it up. And I said, okay, let me go ahead and renew my passport. And so I'm just going to walk you through some of the things that I did to get my passport. And then at the end, I'll tell you exactly how long it took, because surprisingly, I got it back a lot faster than I anticipated. Okay, so first thing here is go to their website, and we'll throw this link in here too so you guys can check that out. And it's a government website. It's a U.S. passport website. The good thing about passports, and I know we had a shutdown a couple weeks ago, and we might be facing another shutdown next week. So they still will process your passports. So just be aware of that. I initially, when the shutdown first started, I was just assuming that I wouldn't be able to get a passport, and then I looked into it, and then I realized, oh, you know what? They're still processing, and there's no lag time. So usually they tell you it's 4 to 6 weeks. It was still 4 to 6 weeks at that time. So just keep that in mind as well. All right. So you go to the website, and this website is really good because it's very easy to navigate. You move down here, and it says how to apply or renew your passport. That's what you're going to click on. So you just click on that, and then it'll take you here, and it just shows you exactly what you need to do. You need to fill out a form. You need to have supporting documents. And in the situation where if you already have a passport, all you need to do really is to have that passport, and you have to send that passport in. Okay, now if you're getting a new passport, then you'll need identification, some type of proof of your citizenship, like your birth certificate, and so you need other documents. But if you're just renewing and you have your passport, then you can send your passport in. Now the photo, and I know Seven talked to me. I did another video just about getting a new passport, and so Seven had already talked to me about how he goes to Costco to get his pictures taken. And I think you said, Seven, I think it was like $5 or something like that. Now, if you don't have a Costco membership, then obviously that's not going to be a place where you can go. But what I did is I went to the UPS store, or one of the UPS stores, and they're all over Southern California. They're all over. I don't know as far as the rest of the U.S., but you can go to copy centers. There are a lot of different places that will take pictures. You can go to get it all done in one place, and I'll show you how to do that later on. But yeah, you can just go down there, get your picture taken. It cost me $14. You can take the picture yourself if you want to do that. But even though I have professional camera equipment, I would just rather have them take it, because I don't want to do something wrong, especially in a situation where I'm trying to get my passport expedited. I don't want to have a picture that's not appropriate for whatever reason, and they tell me, oh, you know what, you're going to need to take another picture, get another picture taken, and now I have to wait extra time. So I just went ahead and got it done. It costs, like I said, it was $14. It's just between $10 to $15 to get it taken care of. And then there are fees that are attached to it, and we'll go over the fees, and then all you do is submit all your information. And depending on how fast you want it back, you send it to different places, and we'll show you that. Okay, so the forms here. So the form that you're going to need to fill out is the DS-82. That's the form that is for renewing your passport. Okay, and then they give you all the information there. So that's the form you fill out. Now, when you click on, let's see, I guess we'll start from the top and work our way. So if you click on the passport or the forms, You see it here, DS82. There are two ways to fill this out. You can just click the PDF here. It'll just open up a PDF for you. You can print that PDF out and then just write on there. Just handwrite or, fill in the box. I think they're boxes. Let's see what the form looks like here. Yeah, so you just fill in the boxes like that. So you can do it that way. Or the better way to do it is to click on the form filler. So if you click on this form filler, the nice thing about this is it will, let's see here. Okay. Another thing too, just now that I'm looking at it, let's say you don't have your old passport, you lost it or it was stolen. You need to report that. Okay, so you fill out another form to actually report that you lost or that your passport was lost or stolen, and you'll probably have to go to one of the what do they call it? Just the facility. You have to go somewhere and talk with someone about that. So wherever you can get a passport, you have to go to one of those locations in order to take care of that. Now, renewing a passport, you don't always have to go to the local place. You can just mail everything in. In my situation, I had all the documents that I needed, so I just mailed everything in. So that's the nicest option or the easiest option for most of us. Okay, so you hit the submit button here, and it will take you to the application. Now, what I like about the online application, now it's online, but it will generate a PDF at the very end, and you print the PDF out, and then you mail that in. What I like about this, though, is it has a little asterisk, these little red asterisks that will let you know, okay, you need to fill this in. And if you don't fill it in, it's going to tell you, okay, you can't go to the next step because you need to fill in all these things. Okay, so that's what I like about it. So I know, okay, it's required that I fill this out, this out, this out. Now, if you just print the PDF out and you don't do the online version, well, then you could run into an issue where you don't fill out something that you need to fill out. So that's what I like about that. All right, so let's back up a little bit here. So we've looked at the form, pretty easy to do, right? Next thing, you need to collect documents, and in our situation, you just need to have your birth certificate if you're your passport if you're renewing your passport, and that is your identification as well. So that's all I needed to mail in. And then this whole under 16 proof of relationship. Okay, so this is all other stuff that's you're not going to need if you already have your passport, you're renewing it. If you guys want to know how to get a new passport, I just did a video last week, maybe about a week and a half ago. So just check my videos. It should be one of the videos that I recently released, and it will show you. It'll walk you through all those steps. It'll talk about the whole age, the 16-year-old age limit and all that stuff. Okay, photos. We talked a little bit about the photo. It needs, if you're going to take your own picture and you print it out, it needs to be 2" by 2". You can't do selfies, so you're going to need to set it up on a tripod, have a white background or a light background, and there's certain things as far as passport photos that they really don't like, and they'll show you here. So basically, this is an appropriate picture. Now this one right here, right next to it, is underexposed. This one has, the white balance is off, so it has that blue tint to it. This is an appropriate photo here, and then this one has a real dark shadow there. So they don't want you to have that dark shadow in there. So those are some of the things that they will send. They potentially will send your application back and say, or they might not send your application back, but they'll contact you and say, we need a better picture. So, and that's what I wanted to avoid. I didn't want to be in that situation. Okay, so let's get to the important part, the money. So it does cost money to get a passport and to renew a passport. So what I like about this is they have a fee calculator, which is neat, because all you need to do is click on the fee calculator, tell them exactly what you want. What are you doing? So you reside in the U.S., you were born whenever you were born, and then basically you go through, answer all the questions, and at the very end it will tell you how much it costs to renew your passport. In my situation, it cost $110 to renew my passport. Now, I wanted to expedite my passport, so it cost another $60 to do that. So I was looking at, what, $170 in order to get the passport expedited back to me. And the regular time I stated was 4 to 6 weeks. If you expedite it, it's 2 to 3 weeks. If you could do another, you can expedite it 8 days, like 8 business days. You can do that as well. But I think you have to have an itinerary already. So you have to have booked a flight out of the country, and you have to, in some situations, you might have to show proof. But you do have to like go to one of the local centers to prove to them that you need it in 8 days. So if you're just doing the expedite 2 to 3 weeks, you don't have to, you can still mail in. And so that's what I did. So I also, when I renewed my passport, I just got the book, okay? Before I had the book and I had the card, the passport card. And for those of you who don't know, you can get a passport card with it. They usually, I think they charge an extra $35 or whatever it is. The reason why you would want a passport card is, let's say you want to walk across, like I live in Southern California, so Tijuana is 2 hours from me. I can walk across the border and I can use that card to walk across the border. Or if I'm going on a cruise, so if it's land and sea, so if I'm going on a cruise, I can use that passport card and I don't have to use my book. So I opted not to get it this time. And the reason why is I never used it. I had that ID, the passport card. I never used it in the 9 years that I had it. And I went on 6 cruises during that time period. So this card or the book works for everything. So you don't really need the card. And so I would just recommend, if you're going to renew, and if you're in that situation kind of like I was, where you had it and you never used it, there's really no reason to pay an extra $35 to get another one. Just stick with this. Now, another thing I did too, and I didn't go through the complete application, but I got this passport book is a little thicker than the regular ones that you get, because I had extra pages added to it. And I think they give you like 26 pages if you just get the regular passport. You can get a passport with extra pages. They'll put extra pages in there, and they won't charge you any additional fee for that if you do it when you get your passport. Now, if you have your passport, and when they give you the additional pages, I think it's like 52 or 56 or something like that. So you get double what you would normally get. And that could be one of those situations. I look at it like this. I might not use all these pages, right? But what if I go on I just start traveling all over the place, and I get to the point where I have the old, the regular book, and it only has 26 pages, and I hit that, go over, and now I need to send my passport back in, have them put the new pages in, and they're going to charge me for those new pages. So why not just get them all up front and then not have to worry about that 7, 8 years down the road? So that's just the way I look at that. I don't even know how much they charge for the pages, but it is something that you can get up front and not have to worry about it and not have to pay anything extra. So the only thing is it's just, and when I say a little, it's just a little thicker. It's not even that much thicker than the other passport that I had before. Now, like I said, you have to mail in your old passport. So I mailed in my old passport. I received this 2 days ago, and initially, the 28th is when I mailed in all my paperwork. So I mailed in my paperwork on the 28th of January. They cashed my check on the 30th of January, and we're into, I believe I got it on the 8th. So we're around 8 or 9 days that it took for that whole process to go through. That's pretty good. I mean, considering it's 2 to 3 weeks, they were able to get it back to me in 8 to 9 days. And I say 8 to 9 because I'm not sure if I got it on the 8th or the 9th. I didn't check my mail until the 9th, and then I realized that I got it. So I didn't know if I got it on that day or I got it the day before. Or I even could have got it the day before that because I hadn't checked it in the last couple of days. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it to come this fast. So they did send me the new passport, but I haven't gotten my old passport back, which they will send that as well. But they send them separate. So obviously this is the one that I need, and they do ask you. You don't have to prove it, but they do ask you if you are traveling somewhere soon and where you're traveling to. And so I did tell them that I'm planning to travel to Colombia, and at the time it was a month, so they know the date that I'm planning on traveling. So that was good too. So that's pretty much it. So once you have that, you send everything off. And in my situation, like I said, I got it back in 8 to 9 days. So the service is great, I think. And if you are, in my situation, I still probably would have been okay if I just did the regular standard, the standard way to do it and not expedite it. I probably still would have been okay, but I didn't want to take that chance. I wanted to make sure, because they say 4 to 6 weeks, so they could still do 6 weeks. And if they did 6 weeks, it would have pushed me over. So I know 2 to 3 weeks, that 3-week mark still gave me another 2 weeks that I could have worked with. So if I didn't get it in the 3 weeks, I could try to figure out some kind of way to get my passport back so I can travel. So that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about that, if there's something that's a little unclear, just let me know in the chat. We can talk about it. But it's pretty simple. And my whole thing when it comes to passports, and I really preach this to everyone: get a passport. Even if you're not planning on traveling anytime soon, get a passport, because I know just getting a passport made me think about, oh, I want to go here, I want to go there. And prior to that, it wasn't even something that I could even dream about or think about, because I didn't have a passport. So I knew I couldn't leave the country, right? But once you get your passport, then you start thinking, oh, you know what, it'd be nice to go here, or even spend a weekend, go down to Mexico or go up to Canada, or I'm just talking about where I live, different things, different places where I can go. So it just opens up so much more. So I highly recommend it. If you're getting a regular passport, I believe, I can't remember what I said in the video that I did. I think it was like $135 or $145, I think it was, to get a new passport. So just something that you should really consider. Plus, it's additional ID. It shows your citizenship, so you can use it for, there are a variety of different reasons where you can use it in the U.S. To show who you are and all that good stuff. So, and plus, like, you can even take it to a club if you don't have your regular ID for whatever reason. It has all that information on there, day you were born, all that. So it's definitely something that that everyone should really look into doing. And the majority of people in the U.S. do not have a passport, which is, it's sad. It really is. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about what's in the chat here. And we'll work out, let's see. We'll start from the top, we'll work our way down. If you guys have questions, please, now is the time to post them so we can talk a little bit about it. If you're coming in the chat and you guys are just looking around, or if you're coming to the channel and you're just looking around, just let me know that you're here, say hi, so we can, I'll give you a shout out. And let's go ahead and work through some of these questions here. So, Altered Illusions, what's going on, buddy? Coming from Los Angeles. I'm from Los Angeles. Let's see, Ricardo, how you doing? World Walker, how you doing? Back again, huh? Okay, let's see. Get an SPG card before it's, or get it before it's gone. So, World Walker is just talking about that SPG card. They are going to discontinue it. I don't know when the exact date is, but it's sometime soon. So, if you are interested in getting an SPG card, and SPG is probably, well, it used to be like the card to get when you want to get into travel rewards, credit cards and stuff like that. It was like the card because it had the most transfer partners at the time, and the value of the points on that card were more than any other card that was out there. And it's unique because it's a hotel card, but it would allow you to transfer your points, kind of like if you have the Chase Ultimate Rewards program or the Amex program, what is Amex? Membership Rewards, whatever their program is. or the city thank you points. It was similar to that. SPG was similar to that, in that you could transfer these points to different airline partners, and so it was much more than just a hotel credit card. All right, let's see. As of yesterday, I have 15 cards in my arsenal, including 4 Amex. No chase cards due to 5/24. No chase cards. Wow. I'm done. No more. All right, Hip. So Hip's saying that he does. Yeah, wow. There's some good chase cards out there, and if you just got these cards in the recently, I would recommend. If you got all these cards within the last 24 months, then obviously you're going to be way over the 524. But I would look into some chase cards when you hit that point where you can get them, because there's some good ones out there. But not everyone likes chase cards. So let's see. It usually takes 3 weeks. Okay, so Seven's saying it usually takes 3 weeks to get your passport back, and I guess that's like he's saying that the standard way, not expedited. And like I said, I would gladly pay an extra $70, or what is it? Was it $60? Gladly pay an extra $60 to make sure that I get it on time. So that was my whole thing. I don't want to miss. And matter of fact, tonight is when I'm going to book my flight. I don't want to miss this trip. So, and it's Carnival is. I'm going to Barranquilla, which is like the second largest carnival in the world. Brazil's obviously the largest, but there's only a small little window from March 2nd through March 5th. That's when Carnival is in Barranquilla. So I want to make sure I get down there and enjoy the festivities. Okay, 7, except maybe in the summer. Okay, so he's saying the summer it might be take a little longer. Walmart does. Okay, I didn't know Walmart did passports. So Jeezy's saying that Walmart will take your picture or do your passport picture. What else? There was something else I was going to say about passport pictures. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull this up. As far as where you're mailing it to, let's see. I don't see it on here. I went through all the steps. I don't see it on here. Now, if you watch the video that I did last week about getting a new passport, I go over it at the very end. But basically, they have certain places. If you're going to expedite it, you're going to send it one place. If you're going to do, the regular standard mail, you're going to send it one place. And then the 8-day, you're going to actually go there and get all that information filled out and give them all that stuff. But there are also centers that you can. And they outline it so you can put in there, put your zip code in there, and then you tell them, I want to go to a location that will take your picture and do everything there. So you don't have to go to Walmart, or you don't have to go to UPS store, you don't have to go anywhere else. You can go all there. I don't know how much they charge for the picture, but you can do that all in one place. So you don't have to go one place to get your picture taken and then go to the center. So if you're already going to go down there, then look at some of the centers that will do all that stuff in at one time. All right, let's see. Yes, passport photos are $5. So 7 saying they're $5 plus tax at Costco. So that is really good. It takes only 30 minutes. That's good too. People pay a few extra bucks to get the passport card. I've used it a ton of times in different situations. The world over. Okay, so that is, what is it, Clintus? Okay, so he has a passport card and he uses it, and so if you use it, great. Then you should definitely get it. I never used it, and that's just me. I never felt the need to use it. It is additional. It is another ID. So you have your passport book, and then you have another government issue ID that you can use for things that has your picture on it and all that. So that's you can use that as, I mean, you can justify getting it because of that too. You have another ID. Let's see. I rather carry the card than the book any day of the week, and that's good, Clintus. But as far as the card, just understand. I just want everyone else to understand that you can't use that if you're flying out somewhere. So I can't use that card. I'm flying to Colombia in 3 weeks. I can't use that card if I'm flying to Colombia. If I'm walking across the border to Mexico or to Canada, I can use that card. If I'm going on a cruise and it's going to be by sea, obviously a cruise by sea, yeah, it makes sense. I can use the card. But if I'm flying to a different destination, I can't use the card. You have to have the book, and they have to stamp that book. Okay, let's see. Let's see, call the passport phone number. If you have any questions, you can call until like 10 p.m. or so. They can also tell you about your specific application over the phone. Okay, I didn't know that. That's good. That's good information, Clintus. So he's saying that you can call and inquire about your passport, like how long it's going to take and all that. So that's a good thing. Let's see, Nika baby, how you doing? Let's see. I skipped ahead. Okay. Clintus is saying he smiled in his passport photo. That's another thing I didn't talk about. They want you to kind of have like you can't smile big, but you just have kind of like what's the word? Just like a static picture face or whatever. You can't do any crazy expressions or anything like that. Even when I went to take my picture, and I think this guy was being a little over the top, but I smiled a little bit where you could see my teeth, and he was like, no, you need to, not show your teeth. So he took another picture where I didn't have my teeth showing. So yeah, they don't want your expressions to be too drastic or anything like that. All right, how do you track a passport application? Okay, so that was, Clintus was answering that question from Thiago Lima. Okay, 7, Thiago Lima. They send you emails. Now, the funny thing is, and maybe I usually check my email. I didn't get any emails from them as far as like the status of my passport. I only knew that they cashed my check because it came out of my bank account and I saw that they cashed it. But as far as the progress or anything like that, I didn't get any information from them. And then when I received my new passport, the first thing I thought of, when I opened it up, the first thing I thought is, okay, I got my new one, but where's my old one? And I wanted to get that back just because it has all the stamps of places that I've gone. So I wanted to keep that. And they had some paperwork inside, which I didn't look initially, but then I looked later and the paperwork inside says that they don't send them together. They'll send them separately. Okay. Let's see, Lima. Just call them. Okay. How many credit cards do you have, David? And which one is your favorite international airfare credit card? Okay. So, and I talked about this a few times. I have, right now, I just got another card, so that's 7 cards. That's all I have. I don't like to have a lot of cards, and honestly, I only use, well, prior to getting this card that I have now, I had 6 cards. I'd only use 4, so I had 2 cards that I don't use. I have the Advantage card, the $95 annual fee Advantage card for American Airlines. I don't use that card. And I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. I don't use that card because I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And I keep talking about this. I got to really get on this. I think that I need to downgrade the card before March. So this month, I have to downgrade that Chase Sapphire Preferred card to a Chase Freedom card, either Chase Freedom or a Chase Freedom Unlimited. The reason is if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you're going to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve because everything that the Chase Sapphire Preferred does, the Chase Sapphire Reserve does, and actually gets you more points with it. So those are the 2 cards that I don't use. I just got the new card, the United Explorer card, the business card. So I'll be using that to hit the minimum spend. The minimum spend on that card is $5,000. I have to do that in 3 months. So I'll hit the minimum spend with that card. Once I hit the minimum spend with that card, that's probably going to be a card that I'm not going to use very often. Maybe just for gas because it gives me 2 points for every dollar. But other than that, there's really no real benefit to using that card that I can see at the present time. The card that I use the most, though, is the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. And so for airfare and things like that, that's the card. That's my go-to card. So I don't have any Amex cards, and that's probably where I'm going to start going next. Like with the Amex Platinum card, you get the Centurion Lounge, you get 5 points for every dollar spent when you're booking airfare. So you can get some real good value with that card, or you can earn some real good points with that card for airfare. But right now, I'm using the Chase Sapphire Reserve for my airfare. But at the moment, like tonight, when I book my flight, I'm going to be using the United Explorer card. And I have to look a little bit more into it, but I think when I'm booking flights, I'm probably, in order to, there's certain, I know with the Advantage card, I think you didn't have, as long as it was linked to your account, you were fine, you get the free check bag. But I think with United, I think I read somewhere that it's different. You need to use the card to make the book, or to do the booking. So even if I'm using points, as long as I'm paying the taxes and fees with that card, then I still qualify for the free check bag. So I have to look more into that. So I think United's a little different. Advantage, with the Advantage card, I didn't have to use the card. As long as it was linked to, as long as that Advantage card is linked to my account, when I go ahead and go on American Airlines and I book it, then it still gives me the free check bag. All right, and then the other cards I have the Hyatt card, the World of Hyatt card, and what's the other one? I have two other business cards, the Chase Ink Business Plus card and the Chase Ink Unlimited card. And that's it. Those are all the cards I use. Obviously, the business cards I use for all my business related stuff. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve I'm using for the majority of my personal stuff. And then I will use the World of Hyatt card when I do stay at Hyatt properties. So that is pretty much it. So I hope that answers your questions. If you have any other questions, you can just post in the chat. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so Lima brings up a good point as far as having having that card, the passport card. It's a good way to prove that you're a citizen. So you can have it in your wallet. That is one of the good things about having that card, is you can put it in your wallet. So you can just put it right underneath your driver's license or your ID or anything like that. You can just have it there. And if you need to prove your citizenship for whatever reason, you have that card to do that. So that's a good thing. Let's see. In some countries, foreigners have to have their passports on them at all times. The card is great for that. Thailand is one of those countries. Okay, so it's Clint is saying that as far as just having an ID on you, and it is a passport, but it's a passport. But if you're in Thailand, it's still, like when I was in Thailand, I'm going to be honest with you, I never carried my passport on me. Once I get to the hotel, it's either going in the safe or I'm going to put it in a safe place in the hotel. I will make a photocopy of my passport, and I will have that on me at all times. But I don't bring my actual passport. I would rather run the risk, if there's rules, laws, or whatever, I'd rather run the risk of them seeing me, that I have a photocopy, and then ask questions, and if they need me to escort me back to my hotel to show my actual passport, I'd rather do it that way than be in a situation where I lose my passport in a foreign country. So I'm anytime I travel, I will always just make the photocopy. And I recommend getting the photocopy, or making a photocopy. And if you can, get a color photocopy. So make the photocopy, have that with you, take a picture of your passport and have that on your phone, and then have another version, either email it to yourself or have it in, if you have some cloud storage, just have it in the cloud somewhere. That way, if you do lose your passport, you at least know your passport number, because you'll have that information, and you can go to the local embassy and try to figure out how to get a passport, or how to get home, basically. So yeah, but I never will carry my passport. When I first started traveling, I did carry my passport everywhere that I went. And then there were a few people that told me, hey, that's probably not a good idea. Go with the photocopy, and if they have questions, they ask questions. Then they can look further into it. You actually have a passport, you just don't have it on you. So that's just my advice. That's how I go about it. And I've been I was in Colombia in May, and they have a lot of checkpoints in Colombia. So we went through a checkpoint, and I think we got stopped 2 or 3 times, and we were with a guide that was pretty much taking us all around the country, or all around the city. We didn't go very far, but we got stopped a couple of times, and they never asked for a passport. I even asked if they wanted to see my passport, and they're like, no, it's okay, it's okay. So they know you're not from that country. They know you're from somewhere else. So usually I haven't had an issue. The first time I went to Colombia, I did have my passport on me, and I did show my passport, but that was the only time. But they didn't even really ask for it. It was just more of one of those deals where they stop you, and we were in a cab. They stopped us and they asked us to get out of the vehicle and searched us. So when I'm pulling out all my stuff, and I had my passport, so then they looked at my passport then. All right, let's see. Let's see. In some countries, foreigners have... Okay, so we went over that. Altered delusions. Thoughts on traveling with multiple credit cards, leaving in the hotel, or hide in many pockets, etc. So altered delusions, that's a good question as far as how many credit cards do you bring with you when you go out for, like, say you're going to another country and you're going to go out to dinner, or you're going to go here, you're going to go there. Do you take all your credit cards? I never do. I'll always leave credit cards at my hotel. So usually when I go, I'll take a credit card, I'll take my debit card. I very rarely ever use a debit card, but I will bring my debit card with me. And I'll have a copy of my passport, and then my ID, like my driver's license. And that's generally what I will take. And the other stuff, like I'll usually have a couple other credit cards, I'll leave those in the room somewhere, either in a safe, or I'll leave them somewhere in the room, in a secure place, but I'll leave them in the room just in case there's a situation where I get robbed, or I lose I lose my credit card and all that other stuff. Well, then I have my passport back at the hotel, and I have a credit card, so I know I can get home, and then that will pretty much, I'll be okay with that. Now, as far as another good thing that actually I was talking about with some other people yesterday, as far as cash versus credit, using a credit card. So how much cash do you bring, as opposed to how often do you use your credit card? With me, I generally will get the least amount of cash out as possible. So let's say I get $200 worth or $300 worth when I get to the country. That I'll just have that on me. I'll have my credit card. I use my credit card anytime, any place that will take Visa or MasterCard, I'm using my credit card. I won't say any, but most places that will accept it, I will use my credit card. And the reason for that, the big reason for it, is no foreign transaction fees. So I don't have to worry about getting to a point where I have to start getting more money out. Because when you're getting all that cash out, you're going to be paying all those fees. And so I want to try to avoid that. So if I can use my credit card as much as possible, if I go to a restaurant, use my credit card. If I'm going here, doing excursions, what have you, use my credit card whenever possible. And when it comes to using your credit card, I already have the money. So it's not that I'm using it because I don't have the money. I'm using it because I don't want to have to pay the transaction fees and all that stuff. So that's why I'm using it. Plus, I don't have to carry that much cash on me. And some people talk, oh, well, I'll just get all this cash and I'll have the cash at the hotel, and I'll take, let's just say, the equivalent to $100 every time I go out wherever. I'm going to take $100. For me, it just makes more sense to have my credit card. I can still bring that $100 if I want, and if I use it, I use it. But for the most part, use a credit card whenever possible. And then usually when it comes to the last couple of nights, then I'll start thinking, okay, well, I don't want to take all this let's say I'm in Thailand, so I have the baht. I don't want to take all this money home. or I don't want to take all these pesos home. So I started using more cash as far as with the transactions, just to get rid of the money. But for the most part, yeah, I'm using my credit card. And plus you use the right credit card, you're getting points back, all that. So it makes sense. But you do have to understand that not all countries or not all places are going to accept credit cards. And if you go to some third world countries, you're going to probably have to use more cash than credit cards. If you go to a restaurant that's an established restaurant, then you can probably use a credit card. But in a lot of other places, you're not going to be able to use a credit card. And one thing I do like and notice about other countries, and I'm actually noticing they're starting to do it here in the U.S., is when you use your credit card, like when I was in Colombia, and even when I was in Thailand, I believe it was when I was in Thailand, they did the same thing. Colombia for sure. I'm not sure about Thailand, but in Colombia, when you need to, like, you're going to pay your bill at the end of your meal, and you show them, basically, they don't take your credit card at all. So you pull your credit card out to pay, and they'll say, okay, wait, hold on, and then they'll go and they'll grab the machine and they'll bring the machine to you, and you do everything right there. So you put it in, just like if you were at a grocery store and they have the little machine right there and you do all the stuff yourself. It's the same way, but they're bringing this little machine out to you, and then you swipe your card or insert it, and then put all the information in, and then you're done. So they do it in front of you, which is good because in the U.S. now they are switching. Like I just went to a restaurant 2 days ago, and they did that. They brought it out. They brought out this little thing, whatever it is. I don't know what you call those things, but they just brought it out, and you did it right in front. And then you see at some of the larger chain restaurants now, they have that little thing that's sitting on the table. And I'm speaking from Los Angeles, Southern California. This is the way it is here. I don't know other parts of the U.S. I don't know how it is, but you go to some places like Red Robin and some of these larger chain restaurants, and they'll actually have the thing where you pay, and it's just sitting on the table already. And then you can play games on it and all that stuff. And then when you're ready to pay, you just slide the card in and you put in the information, and you're good to go. So they're really doing that a lot more, and it's a lot safer that way because if one of these waitresses or waiters has a skimmer, and if you don't know what a skimmer is, basically it will take all your information off the card, and then they can sell that information to the dark web or whatever you want to call it, so sell it to other people, and then those people get that information and try to take money out of your account or charge your credit card. So it's very easy to do. If someone, if you put your credit card in this little envelope, they give you the envelope, you put your credit card in the envelope, and then they take it off to the back and go into the restroom or go wherever, pull out the little skimmer, skim your information, and then do the actual transaction, and then bring your card back, you're not going to know anything, right? So it's better that they don't touch the card at all. They bring out the machine to you and then do the transaction that way. All right, let's see. Where are we here? Okay, so Thiago, let's see. When they cash your check, does that mean that the application, your passport has been approved? I guess so, if they cash your check. So talking about the passport, yeah, I guess they look over everything real quick, and then they cash your check. But I sent it. They actually cashed it on the day that it was supposed to arrive. So when they got it, they probably just opened it up, looked to see I had my old passport, went over my application really quickly, and then cashed the check. Because it was, when I mailed on the 28th, and it was due to arrive on the 30th. And then on that same day, that's when they cashed the check. So, yeah, that's a good sign, I guess. If they're cashing the check, then they're telling you, okay, yeah, well, we're taking the money, so we're going to go ahead and process it. Let's see, carrying a photocopy of your passport is good enough. That's what Seven's saying. And I agree. I mean, that's the way to go about it. And let's say you get, and I've been in this situation too, where it's hectic right before you leave. You're getting all your stuff together, and I forgot to make a photocopy of my passport. Well, you can do it at the airport if you want. If you can find a copy, usually they'll have somewhere that can make a copy for you. But what I'll do is I'll just wait. If I'm going to stay at a hotel, I'll just wait. When I get to the hotel, the first thing they do is make a photocopy of your passport. At that time, just ask them, hey, can you make an extra photocopy for me? And just do it that way. And that's what I did in Thailand. I totally forgot about it, but when I got there, they made an extra copy for me. And then even when I went to, we stayed at one hotel, and this is another thing. When we were in Thailand, we stayed at one hotel, and we moved to a couple of different hotels, let's put it that way. And so one of the hotels that we moved, we went to we were in Phuket. We went to Krabi, which is like about an hour and a half away. And we were just planning on going for the day and then coming back. But we decided, hey, you know what? Let's just stay an extra day because we wanted to visit some of the islands in that area. And so we stayed in a hotel, or it was more of like a motel. It was more of like a hostel, really. And they needed my passport. Well, I didn't bring my passport. All I had was a copy of my passport. And they were fine with it. They took it. So there wasn't a problem with that. It's better to do it that way and just have your passport at the hotel and not lose it, because it's so easy to lose stuff, especially when you're traveling and you have people that might try to pickpocket you or take your backpack or take something. They might not be looking for your passport because it's really nothing, it's not worth anything to them, but they might get it with all the other stuff if they're trying to take something from you. So just something to consider. Okay, let's see. Passport card is useless outside of North America. Yeah, I mean, there's some valid reasons to have it. If you, like I said, if you want another form of ID, it's okay to have. Now, and when I say form of ID, I mean in the U.S. Even if you are like, if you're in Thailand and you do have that form, you have another form of ID that you can show someone, then that's good as well, because people want to see picture ID. Because the same thing as like a California driver's license is no good outside of California. Well, it's good in the U.S., but outside of North America, we'll say it's really no good. But it does have your picture on it. It does have your name. It has your date of birth, all that good stuff. So it is a form. It's a government-issued form of ID. So that you can benefit from it that way. Now, me personally, like I said, I found no need to pay an extra $35 to get it. So that's why I didn't do it. Let's say if you have, wait, let's see. Okay, so Seven's saying, yeah, if you have any issues with your passport, go to the local U.S. Embassy. And that's the way to go about it. If you lose your passport for whatever reason, go to the local embassy, and they'll hopefully get you all squared away so you can get back home. But yeah, that would be horrible. I'm hoping, knock on wood, that never happens to me. Let's see. Hello from Houston, Texas. How you doing, Justin? Let's see. Okay, so Seven's saying he brings 2 credit cards, make sure they have no foreign transaction fees, and 2 debit cards. They refund all ATM fees. So is that what is that, Charles Schwab card probably? I have 1 credit card and 1 ATM in the hotel safe. Yeah, so Seven's doing it right. I mean, he's got a lot of good information when it comes to that. With me, I have already kind of told you what I do. I only have 1 debit card, so that's all that. If I'm going out, I usually have my debit card with me just in case I need to go to the ATM for whatever reason to get cash. Let's say I run out of, I'll have cash with me, but I run out of the cash that I have with me, and I need to go to the ATM because they only take cash. That's the only reason that I would have my debit card. Okay, let's see. Lionel, how you doing? Tips to keep a photocopy of your credit cards in a safe and secure online storage. Good to have in case of a pickpocket. Okay, and Lionel's talking about keeping a photocopy of your credit cards, which is a good idea. A lot of credit cards now, I mean, a lot of credit card companies, I should say, they're really good about, if you lose your credit card, they can mail them out pretty much all over, and you get them in next day or the day after. They're good about getting you a credit card, like if you lose a credit card and you're in a bind. But I never, like I said, that should hopefully never happen to me, because I'll always have them in separate places. So if there is a situation where I do go out and I lose, I would have to really be in a bad situation where I go out, lose my credit cards, and then come back and my apartment or my hotel has been robbed and I lose all that stuff as well. So yeah, I would have to be in a real bad situation for that to happen. But I mean, it could potentially happen. So having it, your a copy of it in a cloud somewhere could definitely help you. Let's see. I use cash at local shops, small restaurants. I use credit cards at supermarkets and mid to high end restaurants. Okay, that's 7. So, yeah, and I honestly, I'm really not afraid of using my credit card. So there's certain situations where people think, oh, you know what, I don't want to use it at a small restaurant, even though they take credit cards, because someone could have a skimmer, or they could be trying to whatever. I always keep an eye on my credit card account, so I know the transactions that are happening. So if anything is fraudulent, I immediately call the credit card company. So I've had situations where that's happened, and I think most of us have probably been in a situation where someone has tried to do something with our accounts. But usually the credit card companies they're on top of it, and even if they're not on top of it and you find out and you let them know, then they'll usually reverse it really fast. So I've never had a bad story. Like, I've had stories of people using my accounts. I've had stories of people using my debit card, but it's always turned out in my favor. So I'm really not afraid to use my card. And even if it's a small restaurant, I don't know if that's what Seven's saying here. Small restaurants, he uses cash, but even if it's a small restaurant, I'm still comfortable using my credit card. Now, if it's a place that takes cash only, obviously you have to use cash, but I like to try to use my credit card as much as possible. Let's see, Jeezy, should I try to get a business credit card without a business? I would like to start one, but I do not have enough funds to start. Okay, so as far as what they qualify as a business, there are a lot of different things that you can have: an eBay business, an Amazon business. You can just be selling things, I don't know. Can you go so far as a garage sale that you do once a month? I don't know. It's up to you. But there are a lot of things that do qualify for business, and you don't have to make that much money in a year to show, because what you're doing is, if you're doing it as a sole proprietor, they're going to take what your little part-time business is, how much money you're making in your part-time business, as well as how much money you make in your business, your job, And they're going to look at your credit, because you're using your social security number instead of using a tax ID. So they're taking all that in consideration. It doesn't hurt to apply if you have some sort of business. I wouldn't apply if you didn't have any business at all and you're just trying to fudge all the numbers. But if you do have something going, let's say it's an eBay business, and I think most of us have sold things on eBay, and so I would go about it that way. Apply, and then if you get and when I applied for actually the first 2 business cards, I only have 3. So the first 2 ones that I applied for, it went to pending. Okay, so I didn't get it automatically. So I put all the information in there. These are both, actually all 3 of my cards are Chase cards, but it went to pending. The first 2 ones went to pending, and so I had to call them. Well, I didn't have to call them. They said that they would notify me within 30 days by mail. but I went ahead and called. They have like a reconsideration line. So I went ahead and called them and just asked them, hey, I applied on this date and it showed that it was pending. I was just wondering, is there any other information that you need? And so both situations, well, actually the first situation, they asked me a few additional questions about my business. And I have a legitimate business, a photography business, right? So I told them the information that they asked for. And the lady came back, said, okay, you've been approved for this much. And that was it. And then fast forward about a year and a half later, I applied for another credit card, a business card. Same thing, you know, I have the photography business still, and filled out all that information. It went to pending again. And at this time, and I guess I can talk about the card. So the first card was a Chase Inc. Business Plus card. That's the one where when I called, they asked for more information. And then the second one was the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card. And so same thing, applied for it, went to pending. I called that on that one. I called right away, like this 10 minutes later. I just called up, said, hey, you know what? I just filled it out. It says pending. Is there any other information that you need? And so he pulls up my account and he says, okay, hold on. And he goes somewhere and he's gone for about 3 minutes, comes back. Okay, sir, you've been approved for whatever I can't even remember what the amount was, but he didn't ask me any questions at all. It was just, I think it was a matter of, I put as a sole proprietor, and this is what I'm thinking. I put it as a sole proprietor, and they needed to flip the switch in order for it to approve it. So that's what happened. And then the last card that I just got, they didn't. It just went right through. Yeah, that's just been my experience. But have something, like if you have a business, or if you have some type of part-time business where you can justify getting a business card, then I would go that route. Business cards are good to have. They give you some real good benefits. So just something to think about. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, where did we go? I just lost our place here. Okay, so 7, square payment. What are we talking about, 7? You talking about the little square? Okay, so I think you're probably, I don't know what you're talking about. As far as if you go to a restaurant, maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking this is what you're talking about. You go to a restaurant and they have the little square thing. You don't use that, you use cash. I don't know. Or you guys are talking about something else, but let's move on here. World Walker. Okay, Altered Illusions. I get text message to my phone for every transaction under $1 so I can watch. And that's good. Yeah, so you can get the text messages anytime your card's used. Those are always good, but sometimes it's kind of annoying for me. I'm always watching my account, so I know like what's going on with it. I check it at least once a day, so that's kind of how I go with that. Let's see, me too. You shouldn't worry about this identity theft, using your identity to create multiple cards so you don't know about. Okay. Yeah, and then you tie that in with your, if you have Experian, or you have, like I have these credit tracker things too, just to show me when I get a new, and that, those are good to have, and I've had the Experian one for forever, but it will notify me. It will let me know anytime there's been a pull on my account or a new account's open or anything like that. So that's good to have. Okay, here's a way to stop all this. Good strath. All right, World Walker, you're getting a little crazy. Let's see, we have a driver's license. We have driver's license and global entry. Okay, that's good too. 7's talking about the global entry card that you get, and I have a global entry card as well. I don't care. It's bad, but I don't carry. Actually, I don't even know where it is because I kind of stored it away. That when I got it, when I went, because you go to get you do a little interview and all that stuff. When I went and did the interview, the guy was like, "You're never going to use this card, so just put it somewhere." And so that's what I did. I put it in all my stuff. I don't even know where it is now. But you have the known traveler ID number, and that's what they go off, the known traveler. So when I'm putting in all my information to book a flight and stuff like that, I just use that known traveler number. and that's all that they require. You don't have to have that card with you. Okay, Clintus, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. And Altered Illusions, 7, I use a credit monitoring service. Yeah, credit monitoring services are really good. Let's see. If you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve and City Prestige card and you want to keep just one, which one would you keep? Okay, so that's easy for me. Now, let me preface this by saying, use the cards that work for you, okay? The card that works for me is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. That's a card that I would keep. The City Prestige card is a good card. However, the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Chase Sapphire Reserve has the transfer partners that I like. I like Flying United. I've jumped into the whole Chase ecosystem. I just got the new card, the United card. So that's why I would keep the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Now, if you like the transfer partners with the thank you points with the City Prestige card, then it might make sense to keep that. You get really good earn possibility with those with the City Prestige, and with the new revamped card that they have out now. It's good. It's a good card, but the points aren't as valuable as the Chase Sapphire Reserve points. And just for me, I don't really like their transfer partners. And when I say transfer partners, I'm talking about the airline transfer partners and the hotel transfer partners. I think the only hotel partner they have is Hilton. But, you know, it's up to you. It's what you like. If you like flying a certain airline and that airline is a partner with the City Prestige thank you points, then that card is a better card for you. So you just have to kind of look at it that way. But in my situation, yeah, I'd keep the Chase Sapphire Reserve. All right. Thanks, Dave. You've been very helpful. Okay, Jeezy, have a good day or good night. Yeah, so there's a lot, like, when it comes down to cards. Yeah, no problem, James. When it comes down to cards, I like to say that because there's so many different arguments about these different cards, and I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. That's better than the thank you points and this and that. And I mean, it's crazy. And what we need to realize, and the way I look at things is, the only reason I'm getting these cards, I don't fall in love with these cards. I get these cards because they get me points, and those points allow me to travel, and that's all I care about. So, if I want to travel on a certain airline and they have that airline, that's the card that I'm going to get, even if it doesn't get me the best earn possibility. You know, I can get a card that gets more earn possibility than this card. And I mean, you can keep just trying to battle or try to get the most points, but you could get in situations where you have all these points and they're really not worth much, or you have all these points, but you don't like the transfer partners. So what are you going to do with the points? You're just going to fly on airlines that you don't like? Or so when it comes down to it, just get the cards that work for you. And that's why I don't branch out and have all these different cards. I kind of stick with what I like. And if I stop liking it, then I move on. And that's what happened with the Advantage card, the American Airlines card. Got that card, got the points with that card. I used American Airlines for the first year of my travel. I was using American Airlines, or at least American Airlines and their partners. And City, they actually do this every year. They do these promotions at least twice a year, where they will give you 50,000 points if you open up a checking account or you do something like that. And those points go to your Advantage account. So they even give you more points so you can use American Airlines and all that stuff. But I got to the point where I didn't like American Airlines anymore, and I didn't like their customer service. So now that I'm getting these points, I have points. Like, I still have like 18,000 points, which isn't much, but it's still enough for a one-way ticket somewhere, or if I can add to it and do a round-trip ticket somewhere. But I don't like the airline. So it's going to be one of those deals where I'm just going to find somewhere to go and use the points. Like, I'll just keep the 18,000 points in there. And then when I find something where I can't fly on United or I can't fly with those partners, then I'll jump on an American Airlines flight and go wherever I need to go. But yeah, just make sure you're focused on the points and you're getting you're flying or you're getting cards that complement what you want, what you like, what airlines you like, what hotels you like to stay in. Make sure you're getting those, and then you'll always be okay. You don't have to worry about what people are saying. And people ask me all the time, well, what's the best card to get? Well, it depends. Who do you like to fly with? What hotels you like to stay in? That's what determines the cards that you should get. And like, there's certain cards that the Chase Sapphire Preferred is a good example. I push that card to when people are just getting into the whole travel award credit cards and stuff like that. I push that card to a lot of people. Hey, you know what? You should look into this card. Look at their transfer partners. Look at their hotel partners. This is probably a good card to start off with. You don't have to pay a $450 annual fee. It's only $95. It's waived the first year, so you don't have to pay for the first year. So look into that card. That's probably a good starter card. But it's not good for everyone, but most people, I think, they could probably get something out of that card or at least know where they're at. That wasn't the first card that I got. The first card I got was the City Premier or whatever the card is, a $95 annual fee card. I jumped on that card thinking, oh, okay. Some people were saying, oh, yeah, this is a great card. Get that card. I get that card, and I had it for a year, and then I canceled it. And the reason that I canceled it is because I didn't like the transfer partners. At the time, they had Virgin America was the only I won't even say American, but like it was the only transfer partner that I can use that was within the U.S. Other than that, they were all foreign airlines. I didn't know much at the time, but just being in a certain alliance, you can still reach out to some of the different airlines. I didn't know all that information, but all I saw was Virgin America, and that's pretty much all that I had. And so that's the way that I was thinking. And I saw the card and the earn possibility. I was able to earn more points than with the Chase Sapphire Preferred at that time, but the points weren't as valuable as the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. So that's just kind of how I think about that. All right, let's see. American Airlines is part of One World, so you can use AA miles to fly British Airways, Cathay Pacific, or Cathay, Japan Air. Yeah, that's true. So, and I kind of just went over that. As far as the alliances, so you have One World, you have Star Alliance, and Delta has whatever their alliance is. I don't even know what is Delta's, but you have these different alliances, so you can fly on these different airlines just through. So the One World, you can book it on American Airlines, and you can fly on these different airlines. British Airways is a perfect example. When I went to Paris, on my way back, I wanted to fly first class, and so the flight that I booked back, I booked it through American, but it was on British Airways, and excellent. Like I said, I had the American Airlines points and all that stuff. Booked it on British Airways. That was an excellent flight. Although I had to pay a lot when it came to taxes and fees, for whatever reason, British Airways, the taxes and fees was crazy. It was like $600, but it was a first class flight, and it was well worth it. I mean, I only paid $600, and I used points. I think it was 70,000 points or 75,000 points, but it was really worth it. So that was a good flight. That was a good, as far as the whole One World umbrella. Those American Airlines points really helped me out in that situation. So, yeah, SkyTeam, that's right. So Delta has SkyTeam. So you have those different partnerships, and with those partnerships, you can fly on different metal. Like tonight, I've already looked at my flight, what I'm going to be booking to go to Colombia, but I'm using United, so I'm going to transfer my points over from my Ultimate Rewards program to United. and it'll be about 70,000 points, I think is what I need to transfer over. I'm going to be flying business class, but I'm going to fly on Copa Airlines. So I'm not going to be flying on United because United's not, I don't even know if they go to Colombia. I think they do, but they don't have a lot of flights that go to Colombia. But Copa is in the Star Alliance, so now I'm going to fly on Copa instead of flying on United. So that's how that all works. The only drawback of, let's say, if you're booking on United and you're flying on another airline, like flying on Copa, in a lot of situations you're not able to choose your seat. So that bothers me in certain situations because I'm flying business class, so I'm fine. I don't care. Like, even you're only on the plane that I'll be flying on, there are only 2 seats. So I'm either going to have a window or I'm going to have an aisle. It's not really a big deal. You have your space, so I'm okay. But when I'm flying economy, I don't want to sit in the middle, and I would prefer to sit on a window seat. So you can't pick your seat in a lot of situations. You have to wait until you get to the airport, and so that's the only drawback that I see when it comes to that. But like in certain situations, if I'm gonna fly business class or first class, it doesn't matter. Just get me on the plane. Let me sit wherever. And in a lot of situations, business class seats they're not full. So you have open space, and same with first class. So you can get on the plane and move around if you want to do that. Or even when you get to check in, you still have window seats and stuff like that if that's what you want. All right, let's see. Lionel, flying in and out of London will trigger ungodly taxes. I avoid London at all costs. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was $600. And the only reason that I went forward with it is because I had just gotten the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, and it was good because I got the card in August of when it was released, like I think a month after it was released. So I got that $300 credit, and then I got another $300 credit in January, and I flew out to Paris, I think late January. So I had that $300 credit, and so that's the only reason that I went through with that. Because to me, I'm thinking $600, that's a lot. Like, I can just fly economy. It's not a big deal. But I had the $300 credit, so that helped it out a lot. And I just started thinking, okay, well, it's only going to be $300 out of my pocket. So that's why I went ahead with it. But it was, I'm telling you, I would pay it. I would pay the $600 easily now to fly first class on British Airways. And it was a 747, so it was an older plane, but it was the best experience I've ever had, period. On a plane, off a plane, as far as just being pampered and taken care of, it was an amazing situation. Like, I never felt like that before. So, and that's one of the things when it comes to points. And I try to tell people this, that they're not really into points and stuff like that. You can do some things with points that you can never even dream of doing in a normal situation. And what I mean is, I go to Paris, I'm flying back from Paris, so it's a 10-hour, actually total I think was like 12 hours, it might even be more than that, but the flight back, the long haul flight, it was 10 hours, and I'm flying first class, a one-way ticket. I used 70,000 points. That one-way ticket was $6,500. There's no way in the world I would ever pay $6,500 to fly anywhere. And so, having points, it makes sense. $700, or I'm sorry, 70,000 points. Yeah, it's not that much when it comes to points. So it's easy for me to justify using 70,000 points to fly first class, but I can't justify paying $6,500 to fly first class. So with points, you can do things that you would never even dream of doing if you're actually paying cash. All right, let's see. The problem with booking through United is that it requires a lot of miles. So that's 7 saying that. It's not any more than any of the other ones that I see. Like, Even with American Airlines, I'm usually paying. It's usually, what is it? Within the U.S., I think it comes to what, 25,000 points to fly economy. If you want to fly business class and stuff like that, you're still going to be up there in 70,000 points to do that. So you just need to, with United, they tell you that they don't have any blackout dates and all that stuff. And so if you can get the saver seats, then you're gonna make out. So case in point, and I'm gonna do after I get off here, I'm gonna go ahead and book my flight, but I'm gonna actually book it and do a video so I can put it out to you guys so you guys can see exactly what I do to book my flights. And it's funny because you'll look at certain situations where you have economy, and since they don't have blackout dates, economy is going to show it's going to take 50,000 points to fly one way economy. And then right next to it, the business saver seat is 35,000 points. So they'll do that a lot. And it's just because you have more business seats that are available and you don't have as many economy seats that are available. So they're pushing up the points on that seat. But a normal flight, I think it's like 20,000. And I'm talking about going to Colombia. I'm not talking about going to the U.S. But the normal flight was the saver seat economy is 20,000. So it's not that much. Like that's I don't really see it being much higher than what I've experienced with American Airlines. Now I don't fly Delta, so I don't know how their whole points structure is, and I haven't flown on Delta at all. So. Okay, we need to fly 787 Dreamliners. Yeah, those Dreamliners are nice. I've only flown... Actually, no, I've flown twice on a Dreamliner. And they're nice. They are nice. I flew United's Dreamliner going to Thailand. And that was a business class flight. And that was nice. And then when I flew to Paris, it was a Dreamliner, but that was American Airlines. And yeah, they're Dreamliners are really nice planes. I like how they have those windows where you don't have to pull the shade down. I don't know why it's amusing to me, but you just push a button and it just darkens, it just tints, and it goes all the way to black. And it's funny because I didn't know how to use it at first, and we got on the plane, it was at night, and so it was pitch black. And I'm thinking, okay, it's just pitch black. It's just dark outside. You can't see outside. And it wasn't until we got to the point where it was daytime and I could see, and I'm looking at some of the other little windows, and I'm seeing light, and I'm looking at my window and it's all dark. I'm like, what's wrong with my window? It's broken. And so then I look and I see there's a little button there, and it kind of shows you shade and then light. I was like, oh, okay. And so I pressed the button, and then it just gradually shows the daylight. So it was crazy. It was, but it gets really dark. Like when it goes dark, it's like completely dark. Like it's nighttime. All right, let's see. I agree about the points. So that's Lionel saying that. Flying Qatar, K-Suites from Asia in May, and Ava Airlines. Yeah, those are. Yeah, he's talking about the cost, $7,000 to $8,000 for those flights. Yeah, it's stuff you would never do. I don't know. I would never do. I could never even think about paying $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for a flight. But when you have points, you can use those points, and you you could make it work. Like yeah, it's a good deal. So yeah, let's see. You guys have any other questions or any other comments? Please put them in the chat now. And I just want to look. I always like to look and just see if there's any news coming up when it comes to travel. See if there's anything else to discuss. Let's see. So if any of you guys are considering, or you guys are going to Barranquilla for Carnival, let me know. You can just hit me up and let me know that you're going, and then maybe we can meet up. and talk about travel. But yeah, like I said, this was a last minute trip for me, and I kind of, this is another thing I just realized, and I've flown on United before, but I'm still kind of new to their whole system. But I have to pay an extra $75 because if it's a 3 weeks or less, you have to pay this like close fee or something. Close fee is what they call it. So because I didn't book it 4 weeks or more in advance, because it's like a last minute booking, that's what they consider 3 weeks of last minute booking, they're going to charge me an extra $75. So when I looked at it yesterday, I pulled out all the numbers and everything. It was $165 for the taxes and fees, or I should say the tax fees and the close booking fee. So if I would have done it a little before, then I would have been able to get it for, it would have been $90 something, $95 or what have you. So just something to think about, like if you are booking something with United. And one of the things I do like about points as well is you don't have to book months in advance. You can wait until the last month and a half. You can even wait until the last couple of days and then just book a flight and go. And usually, as long as they still have the available space, the seats, like the saver seats, because that's what I usually look for, the saver seats. I'm not going to use 50,000 points to fly an economy seat or 90,000 points to fly a business class seat. But if I see a saver seat and it's a business class and it's 35,000, that's right down my alley. If it's 20,000 for an economy seat, then those are the numbers that I like. But I'm not gonna use more points in order to fly on. I'm not gonna use more points to just get there. If that's the situation that I'm looking to pay cash, I'm not gonna spend 90,000 points to fly business class. I'm looking at flying economy, and I'll look to see how much it's gonna cost, and I'll pay cash and save my points. So that's how I look at that. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys all stopping by. And every Sunday we're going to do the same thing at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just join me. And if you guys have questions and you want to make statements, stuff like that, feel free. I mean, like I said, there are a lot of people on here that have a lot of information that they can share with you. And I'll do the best I can to answer questions and things like that. But I want to make it more of a community where we just come on and we just talk about travel. We talk about our different places that we're going to and how we got there, how we use points to get there, or how we got this great deal. I don't want to just make it about points. I know I talk about points a lot, but I want to make it more just about travel. I think points just allow us to get to a lot of places where we might not be able to get to because of finances. So that's why we talk about points a lot, because it helps us get there. But I also want to know about like great deals that you had, experiences that you had at different hotels, experiences on different airlines, how you get a passport, all that good stuff. I want to have that all in here. So it's just pretty much we're talking about travel. So thank you guys all for stopping by again. And next week we'll be back on. And I will do some impromptu, just jump on every once in a while. And usually I have to figure out kind of how to promote it better. But if I'm just going to jump on, just kind of promote it before I jump on. But there's things that happen, like something will come up and I'll think, okay, you know what, I want to talk about that. So I can just get on. And I've kind of set this space up. I'm still working, like I have another whole set design that I'm thinking about that's a little more interesting than a black background. But I have everything set up now so I can kind of just sit down. I have a computer. I actually got another computer specifically to stream with. So I can just sit down and go. Just turn the camera on, turn the computer on, and start a live stream. So I will be doing that in the future too. So we'll just kind of get on and talk about different things. All right. That's all I have. I'll talk to you later. Please subscribe to the channel. Reckless Rican, what's going on? Dang, you're late, buddy. You're late. Yeah, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. And I'm trying to the more likes, the better, because more people can see it, and then they'll know, okay, yeah, we'll show up next Sunday to watch a stream. And the more, like I said, the more people, the better information we can share. All right. Okay. So talk to you guys later. Have a good one.